Hello, my name is Rosalia Engchuan and I'm an anthropologist and filmmaker, and I'm working with filmmakers in Southeast Asia. I guess I'm inspired by social anthropology because I don't like jumping to conclusions, looking at something and already defining it. I'm always more interested in where things or people are coming from and how they might change in the future. And I think anthropology allows me to untangle these processes, and this requires a lot of time. It requires to go to places to actually learn the language, live with people, but I think that's the price to pay for really complex and deep insights that are not easy and also not fast. And that's what I like about anthropology, because it gives us the space to do exactly that. My current research project, I'm working with filmmakers, grassroots film communities in Indonesia. And this project is about understanding the relations that they have with the context, with the world they're living in, basically. So this is the state, it's technology, it's democratization, but also increasingly orthodox interpretations of Islam. Then there's environmental disaster, capitalism. So against the backdrop of everything that is happening, my project is interested in how filmmakers, through their cinematic practice of making films, screening it and also discussing it, how they experience the world and also act upon it. And so how they act upon it and then in fact change it also through making film. In my research, I'm mostly working with new perspectives that then lead to new findings. And I'm looking at film not as a text, like an object that is isolated, but at film cinematic practice as a process. So collectivity, both as a mentality, but also as a practice, plays a big role in the Indonesian context. One example would be there is an increasingly harsh LGBT moral panic in Indonesia, and I'm showing how Indonesian filmmakers, through their cinematic practice, in fact create solidarity with and also empathy for transgender persons. And if we look at all these different case studies of filmmaking and look at the whole situation from a more meta level, as in the situation in Indonesia, it becomes clear that through the cinematic practice, they're not only creating film, but they're in fact creating spaces. So they're creating a world. On a more abstract level, this all leads back to the questions of structure versus agency, and the question if we can change the system or if the system influences us. And the way of looking at all this from a process perspective doesn't need me to have this binary. So I'm looking at something that people would call structure, for example, the state, laws, or also religion, not as something that comes from outside, but as something that is part of the very process of filmmaking. And the case studies that I'm looking at show that through cinematic practice, these Indonesian filmmakers can in fact change the world a little bit.